3 years ago, I experienced one of the most memorable evenings of my life. It involved a sketchy neighborhood, 20 strangers, and 8 courses of food. I was with my 2 friends in Barcelona, and I was looking for something exciting to do. We came across this couple, Xavi and Nico, who my friend told me I had to meet. He said they throw secret dinner parties out of a former copper factory. I looked into them a little bit. They didn't just throw dinner parties. They were Michelin star chefs. Their motto was, hide from the usual. I booked it online and got the address of the venue the night before the event. It took us to a huge, deserted warehouse in the neighborhood of Raval. It was dark. There were no signs anywhere, just a big door filled with graffiti on it. We went up 4 flights of cracking stairs, passing through empty rooms that hadn't been painted in years. I figured we were in the wrong place. And then I smelled something. I passed by a brick chimney, and Nico opened the door with his big smile, serving us a glass of wine and welcoming us in, and immediately, my mind started spinning. It was another world. The space was huge and beautiful. The floors were covered with eclectic antiques, the walls with patterns and design. I'd forgotten that food was the reason I got there. We sat across the table with a couple from Milan, a couple from London, a group from Australia, and a few other Barcelona locals. Yes, it was awkward for a second to sit around the table with people you don't know, but with a few glasses of wine, conversations flew naturally. The menu was themed. It was a journey through the south of Spain, each dish inspired by a city and accompanied with a song. The food was absolutely amazing, so creative. See for yourselves. In the middle of the dinner, a dancer performed. By the end of the night, we were all dancing. We left the dinner with the couple from Milan and hung out with them for the rest of the stay. We followed every single one of Xavi and Nico's recommendation. We started this trip in this deserted warehouse, and after 3 days, we walked through hidden alleyways to secret gardens, feeling like locals. I realized that week that I had experienced the future of travel. These days, we're traveling differently. We're visiting to different countries than what our parents did, going underground and off the beaten track, always on the quest for the most authentic local experience, the one no travel has tried before us. Instagram is both our travel guide and our motive to find new hidden gems to document. Data is showing again and again that we're spending less on stuff and more on meaningful experiences. People want to have stories to tell. They want to feel like they had experience that created a sense of belonging, of identity. We're living in the experience economy, and this is even more interesting when we're thinking of the future of tourism. It's also never been more easy to connect with people. Our modern world is founded on online social connectivity. From statuses to shares to viral videos and Snapchat, we virtually engage with old friends and new communities. We share photos from our family trips, we share posts from our vacations, but it's all online, behind screens. Today, I'd like to reintroduce you to the original social network, the dinner table. There, we don't just share moments and memories, we create them, because we're fully present in the offline world. Think about it. When you take a table and people around it, you serve them some wine and feed them a feast, interactions happen naturally. Technology is constantly moving us forward and leading us to innovation. But nowadays, it's also taking us backwards, back to our roots, back to our source. EATWITH brings people together through food around the world. We have about 1,000 hosts in 200 cities who host dinner parties, cooking workshops, and pop-up events in their home. We haven't created anything majorly new. We just created a platform for people like you and me to go and find the most authentic local experiences, dining experiences, in every city you'll get to. And for our hosts, home cook and professional chefs, to keep on doing what they love the most, to feed people around their table. We've opened up doors to places that no travel guide ever could have led us to. Like that random warehouse in Barcelona. Something about that evening resonated with me. I realized that I had experienced something unique that can hardly be replicated. It wasn't just about the menu or the venue, both were amazing, but it was the people who made it special. The hosts and their individual interactions with us guests, the guests and their individual interactions with each other. There's nothing more intimate than going into someone's home and get a sneak peek to the way they live their lives. From the choice of coffee table books, to the scent of candle, to the art on the walls, or even using their restroom. Going into a home is an icebreaker in itself. It's a way to get to know someone before words are even spoken. I left many restaurants feeling excited and thrilled. I love food, obviously. But the chef never came out of the kitchen to tell me something inspiring about his mother recipe, or where can I get those special ingredients that you can only get in this shop around the corner. That food had a story. I left with a feeling that something unique had taken place, and I soon realized that I wasn't the only one who felt that way. For the last 3 years, serendipitous moments have been happening at tables around the world. Meet Joel, an Eat With host and a very good friend of mine, an amazing chef, who's about to marry a woman he met around his table. He was a host, she was a guest, and they're getting married next summer. This is actually not going to be the first wedding we had at EATWITH. Alberto and Ella, two hosts from Barcelona, got married last summer. And 2 proposals have happened mid-dinner among strangers. We've also had an entrepreneur who met his future investor, people making friends for life, and even guests who named their newborn after the name of their hosts. After years of insight, we've gained a new kind of tech intelligence. How to create magic around the table. How to create magic with people who've never met before. It starts like this. So you go to the Eat With website and you choose the host you want to eat with. You book it online, and immediately you get a note from your chef asking you if you have any special dietary restriction or if you're excited and welcoming you in. Then to the offline. You're getting into his home and you open the door. He will always serve you a glass of wine, of course. And then the setting, the menu, the lighting, the music, it's all carefully curated in order to create the most memorable, personal experience. We've found the secret sauce for the perfect dinner party. But how do you scale magic? How do you make sure it's going to happen in every event globally without being there? Our answer for that was to create a strong, loyal community of hosts, chosen and vetted carefully, with a united culture, with values, rituals, and behaviors that recreate those magical moments over and over again in each city around the world. Meet Barbara, our host from Rome. She's hosted almost 3,000 guests from around the world, and she's most famous for her authentic dinner parties, Roman dinner parties. She's one of the most lovable people I've ever met. And when she opens the door and smiles, you know you're in for one unforgettable local experience. Don is a fishmonger and a home cook based in San Francisco, California. After years of standing in local farmers market, he now hosts seafood feasts with up to 8 courses. Guests introduce themselves over oysters and champagne. They share stories over butterfish and braised squid. They can barely finish their homemade ice cream cookie sandwich. Keren and Yael are a couple inside and outside of the kitchen. Keren is an artist and a chef. Yael is a former dancer and a pastry genius. Together, they are hosting Mediterranean feasts in their Bauhaus apartment in Tel Aviv. Their table is always filled with unlimited wine and food, and for me, they basically redefined the meaning of dinner party. This is our host, Ai, from New York. She grew up in Japan, and now she lives in Brooklyn. She creates those Japanese tasting menus where she sources her ingredients straight from the farm she built atop her Brooklyn loft. Her food is as beautiful as her space. More than 1,000 dreamers have joined the EATWITH host community in the last 3 years. Before EATWITH, they would have to risk everything to live their passion. Unfortunately, 60% of restaurants go under in less than a year, leaving many owners in debt and ruins. But for our host, EATWITH became a platform for their passion, for their business, for excitement and creation. All of these hosts have different life stories, different resumes, different favorite things to cook, but they all have one thing in common: the love for food and people. For them, the kitchen is the creative playground. It's their space to share something about themselves, about their culture, using the most universal languages of all: food. My years of sitting at EATWITH dinners and conversing with creative chefs and hosts and people has taught me something very powerful. In an age where we often feel trapped in our own personal bubbles, and with everything that is happening in the world around us, we must make the extra effort to encounter otherness, to feel empathy, to share stories. Especially when you go visit a familiar city, a favorite one, or even in your hometown. I encourage you to go and try new experiences, make new connections, and meet people in the offline world. Get out of your screens and gain new perspectives. Now, we can tour the world from the locals' perspective. We can seek out new adventures, and we can meet people in the offline world, around the regional social network, the dinner table. Thank you. That's it.